Wow. Who knew after watching the movie Titanic from 1997 last night with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, Billy Zane, Kathy Bates, that I would actually end up in a similar situation myself with the complete package, y'all. I got the suit, got the tie, I got the intangible see-through chairs, I got the rose, I got the heart of gold, and I got my signature glass of mimosa. Hello to all my fellow YouTubers and Instagrammers. Welcome to the next episode on Way Back Wednesday. And today I'll be giving you my review of Titanic as part of the Way Back Wednesday series. It is the throwback classic in between two different franchises. So before we begin, if you are new to this video or to this playlist, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment on the section below. And don't forget to click that bell to subscribe and keep up to date with all things Sterling on Sinemas. And I'm talking to Instagram as well. I'm talking to the followers on the media, on the IG, and that you do the same thing. I require the same type of procedure from you. Thank you. Let's get started. James Cameron's Titanic is an epic, action-packed romance set against the ill-fated maiden voyage of the R.M.S. Titanic. The pride and joy of the White Star Line, and at the time the largest moving object ever built, she was the most luxurious liner of her era, the ship of dreams, which ultimately carried over 1,500 passengers to their death, to the ice-cold waters of the North Atlantic in the early hours of April 15th, 1912. So, what do I think of this classic romantic tale? Well, when I think of the movie Titanic, I never think of it as a historical disaster movie because it almost sounds too tragic and it feels so iconic to be true, but more so of a romantic cult classic. And I do consider this a cult classic. I don't know if anybody's on the same page with me or if you consider this a cult classic, but to me it is a cult classic. However, the thing that makes Titanic so amazing is how much it causes the audience to adapt to different events happening throughout the film. From the time of when the people arrive on the boat to when they each get death that is served at a subsequent sub-zero. James Cameron's classic romantic drama is one that I have really enjoyed watching the first time fully. Because I've seen parts of it many times before, but I haven't seen it from beginning to end many times. I've only seen it from beginning to end once, twice, counting last night. And I was shook. I was really shook. Titanic really breeds curiosity out of the audience on how the unsinkable ship became sunk. Throughout the film, we are told what we already figured about the ship. We are told that it was the biggest thing to ever be built by man at the time, 1910, and can carry so many passengers, has so many levels, and can withstand almost any type of pressure. Oh, really? It was basically, for those who don't really familiar with the Titanic ship itself, it was basically the OG cruise ship. Before we had Carnival Cruise, before we had all these other cruise ships, this was like the cruise ship at the time. The story feels like a play just as much as a cinematic experience, but it goes from beautiful to dramatic to tragically emotional. While the ship sinking has been described as epic, I feel that it is more thrilling than epic because of how the stakes become higher as the ship gets lower. Yeah, it's crazy how these things play out, don't they, huh? And now we get to my favorite part of any reviews, the characters. There may be a lot of people on the Titanic, and there are plenty of people who are listening to this backstory from Rose back in 97, but this story is centered on the metaphorical Romeo and Juliet. This features some of the best on-screen unlikely romance ever in cinema. It is one of those romances where the pair meets on different ends of the web. Enter Jack Dawson, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. He is a 20-year-old middle-class man from Wisconsin who has traveled the world and is an artist, particularly on French women, naked French women. And to Rose, she is an opposite of who Jack is. Although she is a first class female who is engaged to an arrogant aristocrat, she is not happy about her spoiled and repetitive lifestyle, so she attempts to end it before being pieced back together with the dynamic she has with Jack. Everything she learns about Jack is what she craves so deeply to have, which is the freedom to do whatever and go wherever. And just to get off of a little topic here, I think this is the difference between the rich, the luxury life, and the low life, the simple life. Well, not low life. Sorry, that came off wrong. But the way I see it is that it's actually a blessing to live the simple life because you don't have to do as much. You don't have to always go to some type of extravagant, grand scheduled event because you see these rich people on TV, you see your favorite celebrities in the media and how popular they are. You think, man, it must be a great life. It's not always Popularity is not always a great life. Sometimes it can just be so overwhelming to choose to live the celebrity life or the luxurious life over the simple life where you can go wherever and do wherever and get yourself out of the bars of wealth, to go outside of the boundaries of wealth and money. But anyway, Rose finally gets to be everything she knows that she wants to be, but could not before. She shows off her bravery, her talent, and starts to develop a passionate personality as a result of being around Jack. Unfortunately, their relationship was far-fetched. Since she was already engaged to somebody, she was already, what was I saying? She was already somebody else's fiance, and she was at a higher standard of living than Jack was. But the start of the relationship is synonymous to the end of their relationship, almost beginning in disaster and definitely ended in disaster. It's like when things were starting to get warm between them, that is when the chilling end became inevitable. It makes for one of the most disturbing and gut-wrenching deaths ever to take place. Like there's no gore involved in these deaths, but I have never felt so worried about the cold temperatures ever when watching the scene when everybody was sitting in there really, really, when the white people were really white with the lips blue and the eyes and the eye bags dark and the cold, and they've been deprived of the warm blood. They've been dying from hypothermia in the Atlantic and nobody else out there to save them. It is sad to watch most of the passengers meet their demise this way, but the audience might have been given some closure between Jack and Rose. But watching their relationship end like this was very, very sad. Rotten Tomatoes gives Titanic an 89% score. Fair enough. Now, if most of you are familiar with James Cameron, you love his movies, right? I know you love his movies. He did, because at the time, I only know he did this in Avatar and most of the other Avatar movies coming up. But I never knew he did Terminator. I never knew he did the first two Terminator movies. I never knew he did the second Aliens. And I didn't know any of that stuff. But based off of how much the critics love it, I'll definitely check that out sometime in the distant future. But I say Titanic feels like a well-structured love story that you just can't help but admire it, as well as feel the chilling and uncomfortable thrills of its climactic disaster. I will give it 9 SOs out of 10. So that is my review on the late great Titanic. Y'all can let me know what you guys think about it. Think about this movie in particular. You can sink your comment in the section below, and I'll see you guys next time, next week.